All right, we're starting a new topic. This is I should say a new letter. It's never a new topic because it's a continuous, it's a continuous study of this theme, of the themes that are leading one into the other. So the last letter we did, of course, was a letter on tzedakah. This letter is, first of all, not a letter, and second of all, it's not on tzedakah directly. It's connected to tzedakah, not directly. Why is it not a letter? Because it's not. Most of the Iggeres Hakodesh are letters. It says letters of holiness, but there are a number of letters or inclusions here that are not letters. They're actually maimarim. As we said in the very beginning, when we started this whole Iggeres Hakodesh, that there was not much that the Chassidim had for the Alter Rebbe that he wrote himself. The Tanya he wrote himself. There was certain letters that he wrote. But most of his Maimarim were transcribed by Chassidim or other people who heard the Maimarim and wrote them down. He himself didn't write down his teachings in general. So the few things that they had handwritten, and some of them they included in Iggeres Hakodesh. So this we'd call a short mimer. It's like a topic that he addresses. Also, it's not directly about tzedakah, but it continues, because the last topic, if we remember, had two. Well, let's focus on one thing about it, and that is that it addressed the idea of getting something you earned, but much more than you earned, which means you didn't earn the quantity and the quality, but you did something to elicit to get some great benefit. That's what we're talking about here. The theme of this chapter is going to be something that we gain as a gift from Hashem. You cannot earn this. You could never in our lifetimes earn this reward, this reciprocation, but you only get it after hard work. So, like we said about Olam Haba and the levels that come around it, that it's a reward that comes, or a gift that comes, an unearned gift, after we put in all the work. So it's a combination. And that's what the topic is going to be. What's the topic of this chapter? The idea of ahava, the idea of love. One of the, probably in the secular world and in the world in general, is a big discussed topic. What is love? How it's love? What's real love? Fake love? We're talking here about love in a purely holy and authentic concept. What does that mean? We're not talking about here, I love, apples, I love. We're talking about what is true, authentic love. So first of all, the word ahava really comes from a word of yearning, needing. As we'll see, most loves, I want, I yearn, I need. Where does I want or I love, I need, yearn for come from? Something that is lacking by me. I am lacking. But let's take a step backwards. In general, while Ava is the most discussed emotion in Chassidus, there's another emotion that's discussed a lot also, which is really a prerequisite for Ava, and it's really a similar behavior, but similar departments, and that's Yira. Just as a reminder, Yira does not mean fear, even though it does have a certain concept of fear of something that's so great. Yira really means awe and respect. You don't... famously, the Baal Shem Tov told his son, the Baal Shem Tov's father told the Baal Shem Tov when he was a young child that you should fear no one except God. Now, is God scary? No. It means have that absolute self put aside. What's the definition of Yira? So if you want to take Ava and Yira and analyze, and in general, by the way, in Halacha and Chassidus, in all matters, also in science, if you want to understand something, you take two items and you compare what it is and what it isn't. And you can sort of figure out what something is. Ava and Yira are very different in what they are. Very different. Not just that one is I'm afraid and one I'm loving, one I'm attracted, one I'm rejecting. That's the technical terms. Ava is the behavior of attraction, and Yira is the behavior of rejection. What it really is, Ava is all about self. I need, I want, I yearn, It's the expression we use in Chassidus is yesh misha ahev. There has to be something that I love, that I am an identity, and I love that identity. So Ava, by definition, is all about me. How does it make me feel? How do I feel about this? That's Ava. In general, emotions are about me. Yira has a very fascinating dimension. It's not about me. The ultimate Yira is that when I get past myself, it's not about me. It's about the other. Meaning, I respect and have awe because I put myself aside. Love, a result of love is that I can put myself aside because I love you so much. But that's already a behavior that comes after love. Because I love you, I put myself aside to do the dishes for you and give you a ride and stay home and buy you something. Because I love you, I, as a result, put self aside. Yira by definition, but Ava by itself is love. I loved you. You mean something to me. Yira by definition means it's not about me. The more I put myself aside, the more I'm not. So in other words, if you want to take the essential quality of Yira, is bittul. That's why we had in Perek Aleph, if you remember going back about a year or two ago, Perek Aleph was the foundation for true love is bittul. Because if you don't have true Yira first, then my love is not about you, it's about me. That's why we have in Perek Aleph, as the current time, you have to know for always that even though there's a love and fear of God, you must have the fear of God first. Because if you don't come on the foundation of putting self aside, then the love really ends up being more about me. But in love itself, the ultimate is to get past myself, which means true love means I'm able to get past myself. In other words, we could take love and divide it into three categories. The Alter Rebbe is going to say two, because he's talking about the two second ones that you'll see in a moment. But love could be divided in the service of Hashem we're talking about into three categories. Here we're talking about love of Hashem. One is, I have chapter 19 of Tanya brings in a phenomenally important idea that every single person has an innate, natural, born with you love to Hashem. Like it or not, you have a love to Hashem. This love is not by choice, not by understanding, not because it makes sense to me. I just have inside my soul an attraction, a yearning, a desire to love Hashem. The tremendous flaw in living with this love is it brings you to a constant state of guilt and saying, I'm sorry. Why? Because we're talking about here a love that doesn't, I don't do any effort to develop or work on this. I'm just living with it. It's like a child who's never worked to think, what does my love of my mother mean or my father mean? Or I just basically, I love this. I feel bad when I offend them. I feel bad when I come late. I feel bad when I hurt them. I feel bad. I'm always feeling bad. I'm always apologizing. Like there's a Rishayim, our Malach are always apologizing. Why? Why are you always apologizing? Why is there a guilt? Because I have a love and I feel that, but I don't do anything about it. So the love is real. It's there, but I do nothing about it. We're not talking about that in this chapter. Because that is something which is not a service of God. That's you're just in a messed up situation. You love somebody and you're constantly disrespecting them. Not on purpose necessarily. I just don't give it enough thought, consideration, and therefore a little bit putting self aside and doing what's right. So natural love is a real love. I actually love Hashem, but it causes me no change in my behavior. So what does that mean? I'm living my life, and when I do something wrong, I feel bad. I'm constantly apologizing. And you say, I'm sorry. Don't tell me I'm sorry. I feel so bad. Don't feel bad. Just stop doing it. Change. Or remember my birthday. So that we're not talking about in this chapter. When we talk about this chapter, the two loves, we're talking about the first one is a love that because I have an Ava Misateres, I have a natural love inside of me, I work and develop this love constantly every day in my life. And that's what we're talking about here, the constant effort of this love. And then we're talking about the second love is really the third level. It's the love of that I didn't develop it after I develop my love. I get a gift of a new type of love, something very different. And we'll see what they are. We'll talk about them. So that's what we want to talk about in this chapter, the second two types of love. The love that I work on and I earn and I develop and I constantly, every day I get up in the morning and I remind myself about this love and I work on it and I develop it. And a love that is much more than that, much higher, that comes as a result of a life of working on my yira, working on my putting self aside, working on my developing my love. And then I can get an unbelievable gift if I'm a tzaddik. If not, I get that gift in Elam Haba, like we're talking last chapter. All right, let's see this inside. Yud number 18. Ksiv, it says, this is of course a quote from Shir Hashirim, Ma yofis u'ma namet ava b'tanugim. How beautiful and how pleasant is ava b'tanugim. What is ava b'tanugim? That's the conversation we're going to have here. Ava b'tanugim is the higher of these two loves we're going to discuss. Ava b'tanugim is a very advanced love. Just so you know, the reason why I use the word yefi here, it's explained in some of the shirim. The word yefi comes when you have the ability. A yefi, it comes from a beauty of mixing two things together. You see, you can have a beauty of one person. You can have a beauty, for example, of one color. Beautiful. Mix two colors together, it's chaos. But when you mix them in harmony and you create either a design or a picture, or again, the more colors you put, the more complex it's going to become. Same thing, making a complicated, fascinating machine like the inside of a Rolex watch. That's unbelievable different pieces, but they're working in harmony. That's beauty. Beauty is two different forces coming together to work in harmony. That's Yafi. And that's what we're going to see inside the true levels of love, is this melding, this absolute unity. Okay.
So you said the first one that when we are born with it.
Right. Both the first one
is the Ava Mesuteret?
Yes. Okay. And the second one is also based on Ava Mesuteret. The difference is the first one I don't work on. It's just there. It happens. This is our point. You just know every single Jew loves God. That's why a Jew, God forbid, could give his life for God. A Jew sometimes wakes up and has, why do you constantly have this guilt feeling? Because I love Hashem, but my love doesn't push me, and my self-discipline doesn't push me to act upon it. So I love you, but I constantly offend you because I'm thoughtless. I'm not sensitive to you. I just love you. So we're not talking about that love in this chapter. We're talking about the second love, which is also based on Ava Mesuteret, also based on that same natural love, but a person who develops and works on it. And we're going to talk about that. That's the second half of today's chapter.
That's Tamgim.
That's Ava Olam,
Avat Olam.
Avat Olam. It's going to be talked about. It's going to be called Ava Mesuteret. We're going to talk about that. We're going to give it a bunch of parameters, the differences. It's like fascinating. You see the difference of these two types of love. And I'm going to try my best to try and keep the clarity, because there's going to be, let's say, 4 or 5 descriptions we use to describe, let's say, the higher level of love, and the same 4 or 5 how they're different in the lower level of love. So we'll try and make sure we cover both of them so we can constantly contrast the two loves. But the basic thing we'll see is as follows. Second line, Hine Beis, Mine Aves, there are 2 types of love. Hein Aleph. Now we're going to spend time the next page on Aleph, but to contrast it, I'm going to keep going back and explaining how it is in Ava Mesuteret, how it is in Avas Olam. There are 2 types of love that a person has to Hashem. Aleph, the first one, which is not first in order and not first in accessibility, it's first in the highest, meaning the Alter Rebbe starts off with the ultimate love. Now, seemingly, I don't know the reason, I hadn't had a chance to see why he starts with this one, because you can't get to this one without the first one. So I'm not sure why he starts with this one. It could be he wants to make a certain point, which follows last chapter. This is the one that's the most similar to that reward you get, which is not commensurate to what you earned, but it's because you worked hard. And it could be following off that part of the chapter. I'm not sure why. The Hainu, what does it mean? Shemis'aneg al Hashem, he has a pleasure from Hashem. Now, by the way, if you see it says here al Hashem. Al means over Hashem. So we're talking about, it's a love that's even higher than God's name, or like we said before, higher than Ishtal. So remember, last week we said that the love, last chapter, that the love starts, that there's something that starts at Chachma Bina Das. That's all in the name of Hashem. Above that is what we're talking about here. We're talking about a love above that. This is something al Hashem. Just to understand why we use this expression, we're talking about a love that can't be described. What does that mean? And I'll just give an example now, which really start getting into the story. One of the difference between, let's call it mature love and immature love, the high level and low level. Immature love is when you love somebody, you have a reason for it. You know why I love you? Because you're so nice. I love you because you make me happy. I love you because you're a good person. I love you because. As long as you have a because, that's not true love. That's love with a reason. You know what true love is? When someone would say to you, why do you love this person? I don't have a reason. I just love them. I don't have to have a reason. I just love them, not because they're nice, not because they're kind, not because they're my friend, not because they're nice to me. This is the love, as we'll see, that comes much later in marriage. In the beginning of marriage, and I don't want to make fun of any long-term marriage, but think about this. Beginning of marriage, the reason why you love someone is reasons. I could say, I love this person because they complete me, they make the world a better place, they're so smart, they're so beautiful. All the reasons why a young couple gets engaged and gets married. Why do you love her? Oh, I love you. And then, same couple, if they're fortunate enough to stay with a healthy marriage 50 years, 60 years, why do I love the person? I can tell you reasons why not. So why do I love the person? Just because. And the difference is going to be now in how it doesn't have to be expressed in the same way. And I'll just jump ahead to give you a couple quick examples to get that point. There's a famous metaphor, we used it before, but it's easy to hear again. The difference between a very wealthy man who has his cheese Danish and coffee in the morning, and the very poor man who never has it, has a cheese Danish in the morning. Who is more excited? And you see them, who really loves you? Look at the poor man. He's the coffee and the cheese Danish, and he's the experience, it's fireworks. He's enjoying it. The rich man, he's sitting there calmly. So you might say, the poor man has a geschmack. He understands. The rich man doesn't get it. No. The poor man, it's new. It's somebody doesn't have usually. And it's exciting and it's the new experience. The rich man, he has it and try taking it away. The poor man says, okay, it was fun. I had it for a while, it's gone. Doesn't care. It was a shame they took it away. The rich man, excuse me, my Danish, I expect in the morning on time. Why? It's a part of me. So someone becomes so one with you, there's much less noise. Like the difference between the fire starting with wet wood and a flame, the noise and the crackling is when it's not yet established. When something is established, so we're going to see that Ava B'Tanugim is such an established love. It's calm, it's peaceful, it's like calm, it's like water, just cool, it's refreshing. There's no excitement. The old couple doesn't have as much passion as the young couple. Such excitement. But that's because they are so deeply out of each other and so deeply into each other that it doesn't have to have an expression of exterior to express it. I don't have to. That's what he says here. It's Al Hashem. It's a joy above reasons. It's above the name of God. It's an incredible, joyous love. V'atzuma and strong. Simchas hanefesh u'kleisa b'taima. It's the absolute complete love of Hashem. There's just a wholesomeness, a wholeness, a calm. It's a peacefulness. It's a love that comes beyond all the reasons and all the expressions and all the, let's say, the friction that creates a exciting and passionate and happening relationship, and all the discovery of new things versus we're here. One of the ways you see it is, though it's not to be applied here completely, but in part, is a difference in the love of a sister and a love of a husband and wife. A love of a sister is not passionate. If a brother loves a sister passionately, that's not a healthy thing. It's a relationship that is, I just love deeply. I don't have to, go see you and give you a giant hug and for 5 minutes and I miss you. Okay, you can do it a little bit, but it's idea of we just have a connection that's real and it's profound and it's never breaking. That's closer to Ava B'Tanugim. That's why we say by Hashem, Hashem is my wife, Hashem is my sister, Hashem is my mother. We have all different expressions because of different layers of love. This love is not, and the love of a wife is much more exciting and passionate, but it's not, unfortunately, it doesn't always last. It doesn't always hold because it's exciting, but it's not necessarily all the way to the core, not the etzah, not the atzmus, not the essence you have to reach into. Ki toiv Hashem, we're talking about a place because Hashem is good. It is a pleasantness and a sweetness. It's like Elam Haba, where you benefit from the Ziv Shechina. Now, when we say it's an absolute love like Elam Haba, this is not something you can earn. It's not like someone says, I'm going to work on myself, and I'm going to, just like Elam Haba, we said before, it's given to you as a gift. One of the primary thoughts of the last chapter was, Elam Haba is a gift that comes after a lifetime of investment. But the gift is not because you worked so hard, you earn this thing. That is true in the lower level of love. That is true in Yira. Yira, it doesn't have this concept. Yira is always work. To come to that point of Yira, there's no gift of Yira. I have a gift that I fear God. I have awe of God. That is, every inch of Yira is earned by working and developing myself and thinking about Hashem, Hashem's presence, and Hashem's everything. And I'm just, fortunate to have a relationship with Him. The more of making Hashem everything. The love, while the first level of love we'll talk about later, is earned, and every drop of it is effort that constantly requires me expressing my love. The Ava B'Tanugim is absolutely gifted to you, and you can't earn it. You use an interesting metaphor soon to explain it. You cannot earn it. Yes, you could do something that Hashem will gift it to you, but it's not something that anything we can do to reach it. It's like sometimes you could jump and reach something. You could jump. There's no chance of me reaching it. How can I get there? Someone picks me up and holds me up to it, but I will never get there. If I try enough times, maybe someone will be nice and lift me up or lower the target. And this is what it says: Simchu tzaddikim b'Hashem. Only tzaddikim get this. Just like not every person can be a tzaddik. As much as somebody would say, you know what, I would love to be a tzaddik. We're talking about the tzaddik of the Tanya, that have no evil inclination, and it's all love, and it's all God. You know what? I don't know anyone who's a Beinoni. So forget about tzaddik. Not everyone can be a tzaddik. The same thing is true. This simcha, this ava, is not for everybody. He says, "V'loi kol adam zeicher lezeh." Not every person can reach this incredible level. V'zui b'chinas kana berusa. It says about a kohen with his deep essence love. Now, why does he give the metaphor of a kohen? Because no one could say, "I'm going to daven so much, I'm going to earn to become a kohen." You know what? Either you're born a kohen or you're not born a kohen. That's a gift to you. Being a kohen is not something you could say, "You know what? I'm going to really invest myself properly, and after 3 or 4 years, I'll become a kohen." You can't. A kohen is gifted to you. And as we'll see also the awards Hashem gives a kohen is gifted to them. But the idea of being a kohen could only happen to somebody who Hashem decided you're going to be a kohen. But that's something you can earn. And that's how we should see this Avot Hadugim. If someone says, "I'm really going to work hard to get this," you don't understand what this is. This is not an earnable destination. And it's also been usta deliba, something which is deep, deep in the heart, which means this is not an exterior thing. I said before, I have a reason for it. I love Hashem because this and this. I love Hashem. This is no logical reason. It's like I said, it's more the closest I could think of to this, even more than a husband and wife who are married 50 years, is a mother to a child, especially when you see a child has very severe handicap. God forbid, the child's born, and unfortunately we all know relatives and friends that have these challenges, and the child's born. The love for that child is so intense and real that someone's going to say, "So tell me, what's the reason you love him? Why do you love him? Is it because you feel bad for him, or you love him because I don't have to have a reason. He's my child." Meaning, there's a certain level of love where there is no logical reason. If you need a reason to love your child, you're not a mother. You're a teacher. You're your uncle. I don't know what you are. A true parent doesn't love their child because the child exceeded in violin school or in math or well behaved. Unfortunately, if a child goes in a path that's unwholesome and dangerous and bad and does poor choices, the mother thinks about this child all day long. And I love this child, but it hurts. I cry or it's painful. But the love is not based on any logic. It's not based on a certain behavior. This is what it says about a kohen. It is a service of a gift. You get to serve in the Beis Hamikdash. It's not fair. Why'd they get it? You know what? You're right. It's not based on fairness. It's based on Hashem choosing him. Like I said, God forbid a zar, a non-kohen comes into the temple, he has to be killed, or Hashem will kill him. Because this is the key of this love. It's not something you could earn by effort. Iggeres Busters also uses Iggeres Nefesh. You can't earn it by saying, "I'm going to work on myself and I'm going to get this." You can't. Unlike, he says, not like Yira, which you could earn. Every aspect of Yira you could earn. You could earn every level. And it was many levels we could talk about. We spoke about many of them in Tanya. As a matter of fact, it says when someone passes away, we're going to say it next line, they say when you come to heaven, one of the questions they ask you, there's certain questions they ask you. Were you honest in business? Did you wait for Mashiach? And one question they ask you, the first arrival questions, you fill up the clipboard, it's going to have a question. Did you work on fear of God? Did you earn it? Did you work on it? Fear of God, some people naturally are more well-behaved. Fear of God means my guiding force was I trained myself. It reminds me of, to appreciate this concept, there's a whole Sikha Rebbe on it, but there's a meme that, this airplane landed in California, emergency landing, landed on, I think it's the name of the big street, it's called the Huge Street. And it's amazing how they got the streets cleared in time, and the airplane landed, and it landed, emergency, just into a gas station where the main part went between the two gas pumps, and the outside engines led outside. I feel like a puzzle right into the gas station. And they wrote on the bottom of the caption was, "OMG, do you see the price of the gas?" Meaning, what is your motivation? When you, as a person, act ethically or morally, you keep Torah mitzvahs, is it because you're motivated that it's the right thing to do, it's the ethical thing to do, it's a moral thing to do, I'm a person of ethics and values, or is it only because you have fear of God? So to get to that point takes work. Naturally, a lot of people are good people. And that's what the point is. What is your motivation? The Rebbe uses this in the Sikha when he asks the question on the Rambam, why the Rambam finishes off when he says the laws of being holy is if you don't eat bugs or drink from a bedpan, because God said not to. And the Rebbe says that's the Rambam's final point. If you don't do these things, that's the easiest mitzvah to do. Don't drink from a bedpan. I got that covered. Never will do it. What does it mean? So the Rebbe explains, and naturally a person's revulsion to it will not be because God said not to. I didn't want to do it anyway. When you get to a point that your first order response is, look at the price of the gas, or meaning my first response is, What do you mean? It's against the Torah. Anyway, it's disgusting. When you will transform yourself, that's Iggeres Hashem that you work on. Because a lot of things we wouldn't do, I do certain things ethically and morally because I'm an honest person. That's cheap. It's like giving tzedakah because you're nice. I want to give tzedakah because Hashem said so. It's a bigger mitzvah to give tzedakah when you don't want to do it and you do it anyway. So Iggeres Hashem is something you could develop and work on. Why am I doing the mitzvahs? And that's what he says. It's a constant earning because you have a lot of people that will do a lot of nice things in life and good things and proper Torah mitzvahs, but they're not guided by Iggeres Hashem. They're guided by either that's how I was raised. That's how I was raised. Why do you do this? That's how I was raised. And that's by the way, beautiful. But a higher level is I do it because it's what Hashem wants. And Hashem is watching. And Hashem cares. And it's a disgrace to God to do this. That is what it means. A guide to you. Could you work on it and develop That's what it says. Shoel noleha. Your guide to be Yira. When you get up to heaven, one of the first questions I ask you is, did you work on fear of God? Did you work on awe? Do you do you do mitzvahs because you were trained to do it? You did it naturally? Or you did it because you had awe of God? And woe is to the person that didn't develop on himself this trait. Meaning, I feel bad for the guy who went through life and never stopped to think, what's my motivation? What's my push? What's my pull? Like it says, Rishis Chachma. Okay, and it says also, he has here a very fascinating pasuk. It says by Yira, im tvakshena kekesef v'gemer. There's a pasuk that says, how much should somebody work to find Yira? Because the guy says, I tried, and I just don't have fear of God. He says, there are people that we don't do this here, but us, people who do it, that look underground to find treasures, jewels, diamonds, gold, and they invest in machines, and they invest financially and time and effort and days and nights, looking until they can finally find the silver and gold under the ground and the diamonds. He says that's how you have to work on Yira. You have to develop your fear of God, like someone who's looking for gold or silver under the ground. You can't just say, I dug 6 inches, I didn't find it. I tried. Trust me, I went down almost 2 feet. Go down 60 feet, 100 feet, 500 feet, 1,000 feet. Keep digging and don't stop and keep doing research, and you'll find that. In other words, Yira requires every inch of Yira is earned. That's the point. Yira is earned. The lower level of Ava, we'll see later, is earned. Ultimate love is a gift from God to come. Imagine you come to that place. Let's think for a second. Imagine a mother didn't love a child naturally. How sad. You have a lot of people are ill and don't love their children. They're very sad. So the love of a child is a gift from God. That is a gift that is not irrational. That love of Hashem is that we get after, not Ava Meshateres, not a hidden love, but an absolute full-on, I'll go through a couple examples in a second, is the love we're talking about. He says, like someone searching for treasures. Now we're going to go into, we have just a few minutes, we're going to go into explain, so what is this Ava Rabba? Ava Rabba is another name for Ava Tanugim. So we're going to find a bunch of similar, let's call them synonyms for, and ways to describe this higher level of love. Ava Rabba is one of them. Ava Kamayim, love like water, is one of them. Ava B'tanugim, pleasure, which is always associated with water, because the difference between fire and water is fire is passionate and excited and burning, and Ava B'tanugim is calm. The metaphor of King David, of Shlomo Melech, is like 2 doves sitting, just enjoying each other's company. It's a certain peaceful presence. She says, Ava Rabba Zu, but this Ava Rabba, he says in brackets, Ava Tanugim, the love that comes in the form of Tanugim, absolute pleasure, meaning not the pleasure you might have of an ice cold Diet Coke. We're talking about a pleasure, the deep, deep soul pleasure where I'm just satisfied, I'm comfortable, I'm just at peace. It's a serenity type of love, it's a serenity type of pleasure. Noifelis la'adam me'eleh ma'mayla is the key lines here. It falls to a person on its own, milmayla from above, bli sheyachin v'yikaven la, without any preparation and having a mind to achieve. It's like I said, I got one more button to push, and now I got this turned on. You never know where you're going to reach that. It's going to be at a certain point surprise. It's like finding something. If you're looking on some people go on the beach and they look for things. Every now and then, someone's going to find a diamond ring or some, whatever it is. You didn't earn it. You just spent enough time trying. And when you find it, it's an absolute gift. Because you know what? There's not 10,000 people walking around with the same machines. And all the finding is like cans, stuff. He says, where is this? It's only after a person reaches the level of Yira Haremis is a higher level of Yira. There's something called Yira Sa'inish. I'm afraid of punishment. Something called Yira Sachet. I'm afraid of sin. Not the punishment. The sin itself bothers me. It's like a guy says, I would go and be unfaithful, but I don't want to get caught and be in trouble. Another person can say, I'm afraid of ever coming to that point of being unfaithful. I watch myself not to be in place to put me in that challenge. I'm afraid of the sin itself. And then I'm not afraid of my spouse of this. I just have an appreciation and a value of her. It's an awe of her itself. Not because I'm afraid what's going to happen if I sin. I'm afraid that I might be tempted. I just have an awe of the person. And what does awe mean? It's, again, to define it, a respect, or better definition, getting past myself. True definition of Yira means I'm past myself, it's not me. Okay. And a person who reaches the ultimate level, what he could reach on his own effort, according to the makeup of your own soul, then you get a phenomenal gift. Mela means actually on its own. The tremendous Av B'Tanugim, this high level, comes from above. Lishkain, to dwell, to become one. Im Hayira, with the Yira you already developed, which means your Yira becomes a resting place for it. Because, again, the definition of Yira is I'm putting self aside. The ultimate of Ava is it's not about me. So by putting yourself aside and having true Yira as a basis to working on yourself, and then the second stage is working on your love, the lower level of love, developing these feelings, which we'll talk about. Then you can come to a place that when you get this gift, it has where to land. You're a vessel. You're a proper keli for it.
So it's not really a gift. You don't have to work for it.
Oh yes, but it's not. But the reason why it's called a gift, it's not something you can earn properly. For example, if you work for 10 hours and you really work hard, what could you charge an hour? $100 an hour, $200 an hour, $300 an hour? Could you charge $1 billion an hour? No. So if someone's paying you $1 billion an hour for your work, they're not paying you for your work. You didn't earn it. They appreciate that you went on your own to the most as you can. Because you know what? I'm going to give you $1 billion an hour. Because...
But they will only give it to you because you did something special.
Like last chapter. Like in last chapter, it's a gift. We're only going to get if you live a life of Torah mitzvahs. And again, same thing here. The only way you're going to ever reach this point, either if you're born a tzaddik, you have to work for it, you're just natural. Either you're born a tzaddik, which is very hard to do. But the other way is that you work on your Yira to different levels, starting from Yiras Einish, Yiras Chet, Yiras Remus, all the different levels of Yira. Then you develop Ava. I work on my natural self, and I'll go through what that means. And then I come to a point that I did as much as I can. God says, you know what? You earn just now, for all your work, you really get like $30,000. I'm giving you $10 billion. In other words, why is it called unearned? Because you didn't earn what you got. But you have to earn it, meaning you have to make yourself a vessel for it. You have to develop yourself to the point that I'm worthy of, it's again, the metaphor I used last time, we spoke about this, was like a tip. When you get a tip, the tip doesn't have to be fitting what you did. You worked 6 hours, let's say you served a meal to a rich guy in the restaurant, you sure you got a $50 tip? It gives you a $10,000 tip. Did you earn $10,000? No. You earned a tip. You worked hard. But he sees it and says, you know what, I'm going to give you a tip on my terms. I don't want to give you a tip. Your terms is a $50 bill, $100 bill. I'm going to give you $10,000 because I want to give you something which to me means something. So on one hand, I earned it because I worked hard, but you didn't earn the amount you got, the quality of what you got. You earned something. So that's the definition here as a gift. Now, I wanted to go in today and go through 5 or 6 points I prepared to explain the difference. I'll do it next time to explain the differences between these two loves because it goes through a lot. It has to do with, now just finish one point I want to say, this is the key element. The basic definition between Ava B'Tainugim and Ava, which we'll see, which is like called Avas Olam or Ava Mesderes, is one of them is coming from a place where I'm lacking. I am missing. I am incomplete. And therefore, my love comes in the form of yearning. I love, and that's why, when do we see love in our lives more? The further you are from your loved. The further you are from the one you love, the more disconnected you become. It's the stronger the love. Why? Because the basis of all love that we know in this world, not in Ava B'Tainugim, is based on one thing. I don't have my wholeness, and the only way to get it is to cleave to you. And therefore, the lower level of love is always going to be based on one thing. I'm not complete, and therefore, the only way to get there is to attach to you, to love you, and the love is a yearning for completion. I'm missing, I'm lacking. Ava B'Tainugim is just the opposite. What's my love? My love is that I have it all. I have everything. I have everything. And the love is not coming from a place of missing and lacking. And this is the beautiful pasuk I want to talk about next time we learn. The Rebbe is saying, and you can hear it, the Rebbe says, Samol chanafshi kam lecha basari. I wish I would have that love that I felt when I was in the desert and dry, had something to drink like I have now. A person that has water all around, the bottles of water, you have no excitement, no interest, no pleasure, no purpose for the water. because not no purpose, no like excitement, no, because I have water. When you're desert, you don't have it. Your need for water is so much. You'll die for the water. You'll do it literally. So he says the love of Tanugim is that place. I'm lacking, and I miss, and I yearn. I need God right now. I need the love. I need the missing thing. Tanugim is comfortable. It's peace. It's quiet. It's calm. So the Rebbe says, "Halavai, we would have that yearning and passion." Bakodesh came Bakodesh. If only in the Kodesh, our home in the base of Mikdash, I would have that missing feeling I have when I was in Galus. And that's the idea that it's unbelievable to talk about that the power of the immature love is that I'm missing and I feel the need for other. But when I have it, a lot of times a kid, unfortunately, has the parents, but I appreciate it to God for the parents pass away. What happened? I didn't appreciate it because I had it. And you don't have that yearning. It's missing the yearning of love. It's a very deep idea here, but we'll go into that the rest of this chapter.